Good afternoon, mathematicians, and welcome to Ms. Scranton's math class. In this video, we will be discussing chapter 7.6, factoring ax squared plus bx plus c. Our objective for this section: after this video, I will be able to factor polynomials of the forms ax squared plus bx plus c and negative ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, just as a heads up, in this video, we will be using greatest common factor, or GCF. So if you need a refresher, or if you're not sure how to find the greatest common factor of terms, please watch parts 1 and or parts 2 of my GCF videos here on YouTube. So let's start with an example here. Let's factor the polynomial 4x squared plus 28x plus 48. Now again, I will be using GCF. So I'm looking for the GCF of 4x squared and 28x and 48. So I know off the top of my head, just by looking at this, that the GCF is 4. Again, if you're not sure how I got that, please watch my GCF video. So now we have 4 being pulled out of some expression here. So what are we going to put inside? Well, if we pulled a 4 out of 4x squared, what are we left with? In other words, 4 times what equals 4x squared? Yes, 1x squared. Let's check our math. 4 times 1x squared, that is 4x squared. So we know we did that correctly. Okay, now let's look at our sign that separates 4x squared and 28x. It is a plus sign or an addition sign, so we will bring that down. Okay, moving on to the 28x now. We have a 4 here, and we took that out of 28x. So what are we left with? In other words, 4 times what equals 28x? Let's try 7x. Check our math. 4 times 7x, that is in fact 28x, so we did that correctly. And now what sign separates 28x from 48? What sign separates these two terms? Again, it is addition, so we will put an addition sign right there. And now moving on to 48, if we take 4 out of 48, what are we left with? In other words, 4 times what number equals 48? That is 12. Let's check our math. 4 times 12, that is 48. Okay, so we did all of that factoring correctly, but we're not quite finished because now we need to factor everything inside of here. And if you watch my video on chapter 7.5, I explain in more depth how to do that, so I will move a little bit faster in this video. Let's go to the next page. I'm going to rewrite 4 times the quantity 1x squared plus 7x plus 12. And this expression right here is this expression right here. Okay, so now we need to factor everything inside of parentheses. The 4 is taken care of. We are done with the 4. That will be included in our answer, but for now we just need to consider all of this. So let's take a look at our c term. Remember, ax squared plus bx plus c, that's standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c. In this case, our a is going to be our coefficient of 1 right here. Our b is going to be that middle coefficient, linear term, 7, or 7x. And our c is going to be our constant term, or the term that does not have a variable. Here that is 12. So for right now, we just need to focus on that c term, that constant term, since our a is 1. So we need to look at 12 and figure out what are the factors of 12. Well, I can think of 4 times 3, 6 times 2, and 12 times 1. But we want to find two numbers that when we add them together, we get 7. So starting at the bottom, 12 plus 1. What's 12 plus 1? 13. And 13 does not equal 7, so it's not going to be that one. How about the middle one, 6 times 2? Well, that's 12, but what is 6 plus 2? That's 8, and 8 is not 7, so we can't use that one. How about 4 times 3? Well, 4 times 3 is 12, but what's 4 plus 3? Ah, that is 7. So this is going to be the group, or the pair, that we will be using. So our 4 will come straight down, and now everything that's inside of this quantity we're going to separate just like we did in 7.5. And I prefer to bring down my plus signs. Now since the a term, or the quadratic term, is 1x squared, our coefficient is 1, so I know that we're just going to have a 1x here and a 1x here. And we agreed that the 4 and the 3 are going to be the two numbers that we use in these spaces right here. And because we have a 1x and a 1x, it doesn't matter what order we put the 4 and the 3 in. So I'll just do, and I'll use green just to stay consistent, so we see where it's coming from. 4 and 3. Okay, now let's quickly use FOIL in these two binomial expressions to make sure that if we multiply quantity x plus 4 times quantity x plus 3, we do in fact get x squared plus 7x plus 12. So let's look at that real quick. I'll use the next page. So we have 4 times quantity x plus 4 times quantity x plus 3. And again, these quantities here are these quantities here. Okay, FOIL time. Let's see. What is x times x? That is x squared. Okay. What is x times 3? 3x. What is 4 times x? 4x. And last, what is 4 times 3? 12. Okay, do we have any like terms? Yes, we do. We have a 3x and a 4x. If we combine those, we get a 7x. So now I'm going to put my parentheses back here, and I'm going to bring down the 4 because it did not go anywhere. This is 4 times x squared plus 7x plus 12. So we are just testing to see, does this expression here match this expression here? Yes, it does. So therefore we know that this factoring was the correct factoring. So let me rewrite this a little bit neater here. 4 times quantity x plus 4 times the quantity x plus 3. And that would be your final answer. That is the original polynomial, which was 4x squared plus 28x plus 48. All of that was decomposed into this right here. That is the factoring. Okay, in the next video, I will do another example of ax squared plus bx plus c. Please stay tuned.